Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit of accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. It is Pam Esquire, also known as Your Law Intellect. If you would be so kind as to hit that like button. This lighting is horrible. Hold on 1 second. Let me change this lighting. Okay, this lighting was off. I'm like, oh. If you guys would be so kind as to hit that like button on your way in, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Let me put on my coat.
And another thing you notice, the first thing they say, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. That's what it's all about. After they get them dogging you out, before they dog you out, that's the first thing they say. If you like this video, make sure you hit.
You have 1 minute remaining.
So yeah, thank you guys so much. You like my little hair? Thank you. I appreciate all of the compliments. I see that make a girl feel good. I did have a hearing this morning. I have another one at 2:00. So that is the reason why I said, well, let me go ahead and come on right now, because on last night, the defense, Ernest Williams, the defendant, Ernest Williams, his team has filed a response. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with y'all. I'm feeling them on this response. I haven't read it all, but the little things I perused is exactly what I was thinking, because you'll see why when we get into it. I don't know. It's just the whole truck situation. For those that don't know what I am referring to, after Ernest Williams filed a motion to suppress the search warrant, it obviously looked like the judge was leaning in their favor. And so what the state did was they came back with responding to the motion to suppress, but then they also filed a motion to dismiss. And their argument was that the vehicle was obtained through fraud. And the reasoning why is because, of course, as alleged in the indictment, there is an allegation of bigamy that Shirley Strawberry, who is the co-host of the Steve Harvey Morning Show, basically didn't know that Ernest was already married. And apparently she also gave them information that he went and got that truck without her permission. Now, on the last live, if you watched it, if not, go back after this live and watch it. We were going back and forth because in my mind, it was not connecting for me. And the reason why I was not connecting for me is I felt like listening to the phone calls, I didn't get the impression that she was just without knowledge of everything. She being Shirley Strawberry, I just was not getting that impression. And so we kicked things around, just all different scenarios. Some people said, well, maybe she didn't find out that the truck was in her name until after the fact. I was like, how do you have registration and insurance and you got this in 2020 and you don't know? It would just seem odd to me that she didn't know anything about it. Now I said, well, maybe he originally received the vehicle without her knowing, and it didn't make sense for him to put numbers on there that don't match up and all of that type stuff, as if not to call her. That seemed a little suspect. But does there come a point where you say it's okay? Right? Does there come a point where you're like, you never stopped them from driving it? You didn't say take it back. So even though it was procured that way, at the moment that he was pulled over, in my mind, when I was analyzing, did he have permission to drive it at that time? And that seemed more relevant. The case law that keeps being kicked around is more so of somebody who stole a vehicle. And I was saying that, and there's a lot of case law related to that in Georgia. When you steal a vehicle, of course, you don't have an expectation of privacy. But I was just, I don't know. So I'm going to show, thank you so much, 14+1 for the super chat. I appreciate everything. Galatians 6:7 said, I believe she knew he was doing most of this ish. I don't know. I'm just saying that part, I'm going to be honest. I just felt a little suspect. And so this is, remember I mentioned the phone call, and phone call from prison actually reposted it, and she let us know where it was at. When I was telling you guys there was a phone call of which it was a lot about, she said she thought it was paid off and all of that, but thinking it's paid off does not necessarily mean that you didn't give permission. So I'm gonna play that first, and then we're gonna pull up what the response is from his team. All right, here we go. Let me see. I think,
but I managed to put in all the numbers and everything while driving.
Oh, okay. How your day going?
It's going all right. I'm still out here. I need to try to get some shoes. The ones I have just hurt me, and I don't want anything to hurt while I'm trying to walk through that airport. So I'm just trying to. Yes, I am, love. Yes, I am. I would have told you if I wasn't.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just saying out there riding around by yourself.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't charge. I tried several times last night.
So I agree. It sounds like maybe she didn't know at the time of purchase, but does there become a time, and this is what I was thinking analytically, does there become a time that once you knew about it, you just consented and was like, okay, it's cool, because you continue to let him drive it, and we're going to see, I guess, other information about perhaps what she continued to do. That's what my disconnect was. I think it's more clear and cut when it comes to, you stole your mama's car, she didn't know anything about it, you get pulled over, they go search your mama's car, and then you try to have an expectation of privacy, and then your mom says, well, I never gave him permission in the first place. I think that's more cut and dry. But what about when you obtain it from a fraudulent manner as being alleged? He'll probably argue, I always handle her business, and perhaps he got other information to show that he always handled the business and would use her name, and she was okay with it. Because that's what I said. Remember, I said with the lease, it seemed like she was not a part of any of that stuff. But did she know the lease was in her name, or did she just figure that out when the garnishments happened? So it's just hard for me to believe some of this stuff. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. When I was reading it, I was like, okay, I can understand that. I can understand if you have a rental car and you ain't the one that rented it, and you let your daughter use it, and she gets pulled over in the rental car, say, listen, I'm the owner, and you can still search the car. There are various cases when it comes to that, but I am not sure about this fraud. And the state might know more than me, and it may be something, obviously, maybe they've done before. But to me, it just sounded, in these calls, it sounded like she was well aware of a lot of stuff that had to do with this vehicle. That's just my opinion on it. But let's go ahead.
But for some reason, it keeps kicking me off. I don't know what it is. I tried to put the money on Connect Network, but it wouldn't. It sent me right to it, but it just, I don't know. It just kept kicking me off. I said I was going to try again when I got home.
Yeah, you got to do it on computer. Probably try to do it on computer or something.
Well, okay. Last time I did it on the phone from that other place, but okay, I'll try and do it on computer.
Okay. You said keep kicking you off. Maybe that's probably why, because you're on the phone.
Last time, huh?
I'm good. I'm listening. I got a telephone to them.
Oh, okay. Shoot.
But you're driving now, so you can't write nothing down.
Yeah, Westlake called today, so I gotta pay them and the storage.
You talked to him?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so they didn't report the truck. That's what the police lady said.
Well, I guess they didn't know.
Okay, did you ask him that?
No, I didn't ask him because I couldn't hardly understand what he was saying because he was a foreigner, so it was hard to understand what he was saying, but I can ask him. It's not a problem for me to ask him.
Yeah, you need to find out what's going on and everything. Yeah, so you have everything on point. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they told me last time that they wouldn't as long as I paid it.
Right.
It's $900 and something. Wow. I thought you told me that truck was paid off.
It is paid off, but I got to give him that balance check thing, but I can't do it because I got locked up. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to trade it in and all that to be done. I would have had some truck too because the Wade wanted to buy it. But I couldn't sell it to him until I got everything together.
I see.
That's why I was making my move because the new truck's coming out.
Do you hear this explanation? And she's just, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I see. He basically either it's paid off or not. It's not. Paid off has nothing to do with you're going to trade it in. You're going to get another truck. That's what I was talking about. I remember him talking circular and kind of saying something about trading a car in to get another. No, that does not mean you don't have a balance on your truck. That just means that you're saying your truck has more value and you about to trade it in and get something else. That means you're going to have another car note. So the explanation made no sense. But she was, okay, all through the whole conversation. And really, you couldn't hardly hear what he was trying to get at. But apparently he did tell her the car was paid off, but his explanation doesn't even equate to a payoff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's leaking oil. Yeah, they told me for a loop now. They people told me for a loop. That's okay. I got a plan. It's okay.
Yeah.
I sure do. Yeah.
They threw everybody for a loop on this one. But
hear how she accidentally said throwed. She said they throwed everybody. I mean threw. She's starting to talk like
it's okay. God is still in control. That's what I have to say.
Absolutely.
So that is the part that I was trying to recall, and shout out to Phone Calls for Prison for finding that. Did he say something about a bounce check? No, because he said something about the oil leaking. All that got to do with you having an intent of turning the car in. That has nothing to do with what you're talking about. So I remember these conversations. Okay, I remember some of these conversations. But anyway, Diva 314 says she trusted him too much. There are a lot of women like her. Yeah, I mean, there are women who have their husband that do things for them. There were people in the comments after the video. There were a lot of people on the replay, and they said, I find my husband's name all the time. I sign my wife's name all the time. And that may be how they were, because she just didn't seem too mad to be like, I didn't know this was in my name. I just don't remember phone calls that say you had no clue that this was in your name or any of that. So, yeah. Anyways, let me see what else you got to say. What payments were she making? We're about to look at it. I'm so confused. If she think it's paid off and found out it was $900 a month, how did she know the car was in her name? She had to call Westlake. That's the financing company. First of all, if you call anybody, any finance company, they're going to say, what is the name on the account? Right? Am I tripping or not? They're going to say, what is the name on the account? So that's why I said this whole, when it came to the truck thing, I was just a little, leery on that. But the fact that he was getting stuff in his name, in her name, and she allegedly didn't know about it, to me, that just sounds like if he's doing this without your permission, you knew what you was dealing with. If that is the truth, that he was doing this stuff without your permission, you knew what he was dealing with, what you were dealing with. And then at some point, did you become okay with it? So it's just a lot of questions. But anyway, I just wanted to pull that up because I mentioned that video. And like I said, Phone Calls from Prison did show where it was at. Green Eyed Girl said he wouldn't be worried about a repo if the truck was paid off. That too, right? Talking about, she said it, the lady said it. Oh, so it's not repo, because apparently that must be what they told him. Maybe they told him that they found out the car note wasn't paid or something, and so they repossessed it, or they took it from because the car note wasn't paid. Once they took the vehicle, then the actual finance company came and got it from wherever they hold their cars at, because remember, they put it in auction. Glamour W said, I think she thought he paid cash for the truck when he initially bought it. Okay, that's a good argument as well. Alan Speed said, hey, Pam, your legal analysis is priceless. Thank you. Thank you so much for the super chat and the compliment all wrote up in one. I appreciate that. Petty Patty says, Shirley couldn't get any information from Westlake at first. She was initially calling them for the title of the truck. Okay. Mrs. C60 says she sounded like she didn't realize the payments were $900. So how was she making payments prior to him telling her she didn't know? Well, she sounded surprised because she thought it was paid off. There's no payment amounts if it's paid off, right? So I could see her being shocked if she thought it was paid off. I would have thought, yeah, he did drop a grip on that. $12,500. Thank you, Pebble Lane, for becoming a member. I appreciate that. But anyway, there was a response that was dropped by the defense last night. And their response is basically challenging, I guess, Shirley Strawberry's rendition of what happened. You know what I'm saying, about how it was. Let me pull it up right quick, right fast. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe as you come in. So this is the response. Defense response to the state's notice of filing supplemental exhibit to state's motion to dismiss defendant's motion to suppress vehicle search for lack of standing. Good gosh. That's a title for you. Comes now defendant Ernest Williams by and through undersigned counsel and hereby files this defense response requesting that the court disregard the state's filing and not consider it in its decision on the merits of defendant's motion to suppress. In support of this motion, Mr. Williams shows as follows. Allegation 1. Mr. Williams filed a motion to suppress on September 30th of 2024. Challenging the search of the white Ford F-350 he was driving prior to his arrest. The court held a motion hearing on December 18, 2024, where arguments from Mr. Williams and the state were presented. At the end of said hearing, the court ordered Mr. Williams and the state to file a brief outlining which pieces of evidence each believed were derived from said search and should be suppressed. If the court were to agree the search itself was in fact illegal. Allegation 2. As instructed, the defense filed its supplemental brief to suppress vehicle search and all derivative evidence on January 6th, outlining which pieces of evidence the defense believes should be suppressed due to law enforcement's violation of Ernest Williams' constitutional rights. The state filed its motion to dismiss defendant's motion to suppress vehicle search for lack of standing on January 24th of 2025, then filed its response to defendant's supplemental brief to suppress vehicle search and all derivative evidence on February 4th of 2025, outlining the evidence they believe should be suppressed. On April 24th, 2025, the state filed its notice of filing supplemental exhibit to state's motion to dismiss defendant's motion to suppress vehicle search for lack of standing. In this most recent filing, which addresses defendant's motion to suppress filed on January 24th of 2025, the state presents for the first time, quote, newly acquired information, end quote, that was not included in the state's filing on October 25th, 2024, January 24th, 2025, February 4th of 2025, nor presented during the hearing on December 18th, 2024. Not only is the state's, this is allegation 3, Not only is the state's most recent filing untimely, it is also devoid of any relevant legal argument supported by case or statutory law. Instead, the state relies solely on this, quote, newly acquired information, end quote, coupled with beliefs of what the state contends it could prove if the case were to proceed to trial. Pursuant to OCGA Section 17-530 sub A1 and 2, a defendant aggrieved by an unlawful search and seizure may move the court for the return of property, the possession of which is not otherwise unlawful, and to suppress as evidence anything so obtained on the grounds that the search and seizure without a warrant was illegal, or the search and seizure with a warrant was illegal because the warrant is insufficient on its face. There was no probable cause for the issuance of the warrant, or the warrant was illegally executed. On a motion to suppress, the government bears the burden of showing that each individual act constituting a search or seizure under the Fourth Amendment was reasonable. Moreover, they also bear the burden to show evidence sufficient to establish the predicates for the application of any exception, and that's Kennebrew v. State. Absent any sworn affidavit, there was no affidavit from Shirley Strawberry. That is true. They just said what she would testify to. Actual witness testimony or transcripts, there were no transcripts. The state contends that Mr. Williams has no expectation of privacy based on their currently unfounded belief that the Ford F-350 at issue was procured by fraud. Their most recent filing suggests that if called as a witness, Shirley Strawberry would testify that Ernest Williams purchased the Ford F-350 vehicle registered in her name without her knowledge or consent. However, Mr. Williams believed the state's prior filings and disclosed evidence does not support that position. Not only were Miss Strawberry's funds used to purchase the vehicle, so they saying her funds, her $12,500 was used. The vehicle was put in her name, and Miss Strawberry continued to make payments towards said vehicle afterwards. Furthermore, during their divorce proceeding, Miss Strawberry never raised the issue of the vehicle being fraudulently acquired or owned, and was ultimately awarded sole exclusive use and possession of the vehicle. Moreover, there has been no evidence presented that Miss Strawberry ever attempted to rescind the contract and return the vehicle once she, quote, discovered it was procured through fraudulent means. The state cannot meet their burden of proving their position by just putting it in a motion or simply saying this is what we believe. They must present evidence so the trier of fact, in this case the court, can make the ultimate decision. That is exactly why we tell jurors in every trial what the lawyers say is not evidence, and the state has failed to present some exception that applies to them that cuts against that most fundamental principle. Joy, you said, I mean, the lady didn't have a car after the G-Wagon got taken. She needed something. She's gotten another car since then. There's a whole nother phone call with that. So she did get a car. Sassy said, I wonder if Nesto opened a bank account in her name and was making payments from that. You can open accounts online. Possibility. My 60 plus cent said, how for you use someone's name? There are papers that need to be signed in person. That's what I thought. And then people were basically, they were teaching me that that's not always the case. That's my experience, where that's what happened with me, with my situation. It didn't matter that my spouse was the one trying to do the negotiations and look at the vehicles and all of that. Ultimately, because it was going to be mine, I had to go sign and do everything. But apparently, a lot of people were in my replies, and this is why I like to go back into the replay. They were in the chat and they said they too got cars in their husband's names for them, or they've done things and they fill out most of the stuff online and they've had cars delivered to them. So apparently it just depends. That's true. Sexy RN said, I believe COVID changed a lot of practices, including finances. That's true. Bible lady says, Shirley making the payments proves nothing. He would have been making the payments using her money, bank information. He could have had the money coming from her account. I mean, that's true if he had access to her account, but then wouldn't she know that a payment is coming out? So if you look at your bank account right now, even if your husband or your kid or someone had access, you can look at it and see this came from Westlake. So if it was coming directly out of her account, I don't understand how you can say she didn't know. Unless, like someone suggests, there was a whole nother account created, and in that whole nother account, he kept money, and then he had it going paid through there. So now you got to go down the rabbit hole of showing this is the account the payments made. You know, obviously, if they're making this statement, I'm gonna assume he told them, I got proof from the bank statements or something that they got. So you would have to go subpoena the bank, get the original application, see how that original application was filled out. And as someone pointed out, you can open up accounts online. That is true too. That a lot of that happened at the Bishop Whitehead trial. A lot of the loans that he got, they were online. So Granny the Great said, thanks, Pam. Me and Mrs. C60 were talking about the truck this morning. Let's see how many filings we get in the next week. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for your continued support. I appreciate that. The Gold Experience said, I'm a previous bank fraud employee, so I check multiple times a day. Hello, said Kitty, said, just because the state is saying she made the payment does not mean it is true. Well, you have to also say the same thing too. Just because the state is saying that Shirley Strawberry said it was fraud doesn't mean it's not true. Nobody has presented affidavits. Nobody has been sworn under oath. This is all alleged on both sides. So we're going to say just because, on the state side, and the same will be on the other side, rather, because I think you did say the state. So let me correct myself. That means that's on both sides. On the defense side, just because he's saying that don't make it true. And then on the state side, nobody has presented anything sworn under oath, is what I'm saying. But anyway, thank you, Mrs. C60. This is good stuff. Thank you. I mean, I like this type of conversation. This is what I'm talking about. You could not like somebody as a person and feel like, and I said this early on, and feel like how Shirley was done was foul. We can all think that. But at the end of the day, do we have to take some responsibility for some of the things that occur? If you seen this, if for instance, this truck is in your name and you didn't have anything to do with it, is that not a red flag that perhaps let me go check and see what other stuff may be in my name, and maybe this ain't the person for me? Because why would you do this behind my back? I just personally, it's hard for me to grasp that somebody would do this over and over again and it not be eventually some type of consent, because that's not making sense. That doesn't make sense. Hi Pam, can the truck be considered fraudulently purchased because there was falsified info on the application? If so, can the search be deemed legit? That is going to be the brief search that I did, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't do a whole lot of legal research because your girl don't get paid on this case, okay? And I got my own 5,000 cases. But the brief search that I did, I didn't really see an on-point case in Georgia, and it may be one. So the state is going to have to present that in a case law where the fact pattern is somewhat similar to what they're saying. Namely, that if someone purchased it fraudulently, then it's fraudulent all the way around. It don't matter if they give them consent later. It doesn't matter if she just pays the car note because she don't want to jack her credit up or she don't want to turn her husband in. It does not matter. So it sounds like to me she's almost saying that she didn't know it was in her name until later on. So if that's the case, then that means that insurance tax for the last 2020, you didn't see this. If it came out of your account, you didn't see Westlake. Because baby, if you take, I've had $5 door dashes, and I'm like, hello, everyone in the house, we having a family meeting. Who got this $5 door dash from McDonald's? So I don't see how you would know if it's coming out of your account. But that's alleged. Let me see. I missed some more super chats. Thank y'all so much for the love. I appreciate it. Alma S said, I think she may have let Nestle take control of the finances because he was her husband, which is not uncommon. I'm not knocking it at all. That's not uncommon. A lot of people let their husbands take over. She does talk about long-suffering Job all the time. She may have given him some type of permission, like it's okay if you want to get stuff in my name, and that might be what he testified to if he were to testify. I just think it's a lot of information that we don't have, and I think some people are just automatically assuming that everything may have been where Shirley didn't know nothing, and I'm not getting that from this information, in my opinion. This is all my opinion, Miss Strawberry. I'm just saying. Sexy RN said, I was terrible about looking at my bank account and charges. Sometimes when you have money, you don't even pay attention. I used to never look at my statements. Well, girl, you out here balling, all right? Maybe I should have went and been an RN, because I'm looking at everything, okay? And again, everybody is not like me, but every month I would notice, okay, the car note was $900. You not gonna notice $900 coming out of your payment whenever. If it was random payments, you're not gonna notice $900 coming out. But on the flip side, because we just brainstorming, if she thought it was paid off, how was money coming out of her account if she thought it was paid off? That don't make sense either, right? If she thought the car was paid off, then it couldn't have been nothing coming out of her account unless it came out of an account she didn't know about. So that's another thing. So it's a lot. That's a lot. We thinking about everything right now. We try to be fair. So TX Toy says she didn't know how much the car payment was. Okay. Nesto has several cars. That's from Pebbles Lane 911. Hello said, we believe she didn't know much because of the way he moved. Too many things do not lead back to her, and that was on purpose. Yes, I believe that he let her meet certain people. There are people like that. We went over the documents who are alleged victims who are saying they met her. So it wasn't like but she told the police, remember in one of the documents we read, she told the police that she does not get into his business. So some of this stuff, I do agree that she probably didn't know. She thought, okay, you got a barbershop, a security company, you got what else he had? He had 2-3 businesses. Yes, you would assume that money is coming from it. So from that aspect, yes, I agree. Y'all got these coming. Thank you so much. Edge Defined Connection said, remember she lost her house in California due to his dealings in one of the cars. She kept asking for her money from it, and he kept making up an excuse. I don't remember that, but I'm gonna actually ask. I'll ask phone calls from prison, or if you know where that car would be. But yeah, there were several. I don't want to exaggerate, but there were at least a couple of evictions in California. Thank you, Only Me, for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Y'all got this chat moving fast. KK Scorpio says, Shirley knows better now. This is just like Tony Braxton got taken for bad. I bet she won't do it again. Thank you for the super chat, and I bet you're right. Only Me said Erica King has all the answers. So I should call Erica and ask her, girl, what happened with this car? Because we know that house, she didn't know about that house over there on Pine Grove And we also knew she didn't, obviously, a lot of the back and forth, like I said, with the house that she did live in on Brentwood, I think is the name of it. We know that someone else was the one dealing with the office. It wasn't Shirley. And one thing Erica did say was they handled business. Everything was about, quote, protecting Shirley. So they handled a lot of her business for her. So I don't know. Maybe he disguised it as, listen, I'm your man now. You ain't got to worry about these bills, and I'll make sure I'm the head of the household. Look, let me do it. Let me take care of it. I'm good with money. Because remember, he kept saying she wasn't good with money. So maybe that's how. And she mentioned how he asked about her credit and all of that stuff when she told him he was raggedy and was like, you need to get your stuff together. You've been arrested. What, this your third times in 8 years you've been arrested. You need to get your stuff together. Listen to some of the calls. SS seems confused about business, as if she let others handle the business she may not have known until his arrest. That's from Love to Shop. So she says she don't think Shirley knew about the vehicle until the either way, if it was coming out of Shirley's account, they're gonna have to prove it on the other side. And then if Shirley comes back and say, I don't know ish about this account, that's gonna be a problem. But to me, the fact that Shirley legitimately not knowing that she knew, of course, the phone calls were recorded, but not knowing that it was going to come out like it, that people were going to actually be interested in listening to them. She sounded legit that she thought on that phone call that I just played. She legit sounded like she had no clue that truck was not paid off. So I don't understand how you can be making payments on one hand that was coming out of her account, unless they're saying in the beginning she was making payments. I don't know. It's a lot, honey. We got to go to trial. It's time to go to trial at this point. Deborah said car payment. She obviously didn't know her mortgage wasn't being paid, hence all the evictions. Well, that's not her mortgage. That's the rental. And okay, that's a good point though. So remember, there's a phone call where I think it might have been on this phone call about how she mentioned something about some bugs, and she was saying about how the moving people threw all the stuff in the car. They threw it all or whatever. And so she was upset how they handled her stuff and they just threw it, because I think she thought they were just moving because she allegedly complained about bugs in the house, but in fact they were being evicted. I don't think she knew they were being evicted. So that is true. There is a history of her not knowing what's going on, is what it seems to be. Because on the call, she did make mention that I just mentioned about the bug. I really like that house. I guess I should have been more clear because you just went on ahead and moved. So she had no clue. And remember, she didn't even show up for the court. That was not, and part of the problem was Ernest showed up and the other side used it against them, because on the lease it said Shirley was going to live there by herself. So I don't think she had anything to do with signing that lease, if I were to guess, because he got on there with Erica King, aka April Holloway, and part of their argument on the other side was, well, he wasn't supposed to be in the house anyway, and he just admitted to living there, and the house says one occupant, and that's it, and that was Shirley Strawberry. So yeah, when it came to that house, now that we're, openly discussing, it does sound like she may not have known about that house. So I agree with that. Whew, there's just a lot going on here. Kay said Nestle has implied several times that he handles the business in that relationship. He even drove her to work and waited on her. Now that is one thing that Erica said. She did say, like, he did her errands, like he picked her up, and she did mention she didn't put gas in the car. She didn't know how to put a registration on her car, which seems a bit odd, because she was single for a long time before she met him. So it's like, who the heck was doing all this stuff before? He even drove her to work and waited on her. I think it'll be easy for the state to prove plausible deniability. That's what Kay said. Or willful deniability. Caramel QT said, my hubby doesn't know what bills are paid out of our joint account. I manage the bank account. That's from Caramel QT, and that's a lot of people that are like that. He was really adamant about Dion and or Lamont going with her to get the truck. I think he made her think she was the only one who could get the truck because she's the wife, not the purchaser. But eventually that's going to be, wasn't it a conversation where I think Sonya was saying, oh, you can just get an affidavit from her? And then then like one of them, I think it was Dion, could have got it on his own or something. But eventually she would have to sign the papers to get it. So how would she not know that it's in her name? She had to get the tag. She had to do, I just don't recall a phone call of which she's saying, I had no clue this was in my name. She did say she didn't have a clue that it wasn't paid off. But there's no phone calls for that we seen. Currently, the only payments that we actually have proof that Shirley made was the one she said she made after finding out the truck was behind. That is true, Mudley's woman. We don't have any evidence yet of payments made prior. That is a true statement. Shirley didn't know that they were evicted from Bent Creek. Nestle made it seem like they moved because of bugs. Okay, that's what I just talked about. Plus, they had a joint account. It was stated in court and on calls. Okay, that's a good point too. I am here for the show. If they had a joint account, if it came out of the joint account, then how would she know? He could have paid it. But I think if he put his name on an account with the people that he allegedly, you think they wouldn't try to garnish them wages? How much did he put like his name on in fear that maybe people will come after his stuff? Oh gosh. KK Scorpio said, not when you getting $15,000 every 2 weeks. You not gonna miss $900. You know how much taxes she had to pay? Child, y'all are too rich for me. Nestle could have been paying that note through Cash App. Finance doesn't care where the payments come from. I pay my daughter's car note all the time, and it's never rejected, and I am not on her loan. That is true. The Varia said, I dated a guy who was trying to come into my life and run my business. Pam, you're right. He came in like that, acting like he was taking care of everything. That's just an opinion, Deveria. We're just pondering on both sides. Ernest hasn't told Hoover everything. He hasn't been honest. That's from BN. Well, that's his attorney. And if you're an attorney, that's a privilege. So he should be able to divulge everything. But of course, his attorney is going to file the information that's going to counter what they're saying on the other side. You said, let them imply it. He getting out on April 30th. Well, he does still have 2 other cases. So how would he be getting out? Help me out, work in progress. I might have missed something. He got 2 other cases, of which one of them has a super high bond and the other one has a no bond. So how would he be getting out? Help me out, work in progress. Did I miss something? Sexy RN said, I put an apartment in my name for a family member and I didn't know it was not being paid for. I didn't pay attention until I tried to rent a short-term apartment and kept getting rejected. Sexy RN, thank you so much for the super chat, but I'm gonna need it. Since you do not notice $900 out your account, I'm gonna need a bigger super chat than this. Okay, sis. I'm putting in work. Listen, I'm trying to get where you at, because you said they can take $900 out your accounts. Now, you're not looking on your credit report is something different. What you're saying on here, you're saying that you rented it for somebody and you didn't know that they weren't paying it until you got rejected. That's not money coming out your account. That's just money hits. Once they got evicted or whatever happened, they probably just hit your credit report. But $900 coming out my account, I'm gonna notice. Obsessed with the mess says she had no idea about Erica representing them in court on the eviction. That is true. I don't think she had an idea about it. I have to find this call for my boy Will Wooten. He claimed the car was paid off by him and Shirley was terrible with her financial responsibilities. I do agree that he did say She was terrible. And he probably took over and said he was better and probably show how he was able to get all these businesses and he driving in Bentleys. Look at the ring when he proposed to her, the upgrade, the G-Wagon. I mean, he did, he put on a good front that he had the money. So, you know what Muttley woman talking about, he placed it in there. Y'all, I'm not doing this with y'all. Getting married at a certain age, you think she'd have managed her money differently, especially marrying a felon. She wanted to have grace and mercy on him and give him the benefit of the doubt that he's changed. There's nothing wrong with that. Shirley probably has not checked her transactions on her checking account since 2015 when she married Nesto. He handled it all. That's from KK Scorpio. Thank you so much for the super chat, sis. I appreciate that. Wasn't he hiding documents in the truck? He did have a lot of documents, of which one of the alleged victims did say that he keeps, because that is one thing that Fields testified to, is that it might have been, I don't think it was the suppression hearing. It might have been in the preliminary examination on the other case, where I think it was the pictures. And she did say that somebody told her. That's why I said Phil's testimony to me was a bit different. And if she would have did the same testimony she did in the first one, it probably wouldn't have this many problems, because she made it seem like she was advised by one of the people that called in. So this would have been prior to even arresting him, that he keeps a lot of his personal documents on his person. Like that he keeps it in his bag, and they describe where he keeps it at. Hey, always a lady, good to see you. Y'all so ridiculous. Talking about, can you imagine that fool out in the yard digging up bugs to take in the house and then leaving so Shirley can find them when she's by herself? How about Jay Blake says she didn't know about the movers who threw her clothes in the storage. You think she would have let her clothes be done like that? No, I don't think she knew about. She really thought, and she said, and it was just so abruptly. That's because he was in court trying to prolong it with Erica, and there was actually an eviction. But as you guys know, she had big garnishments. Like, I think it was like 30-something thousand or something that would have came out of her check for that house. So I agree. Okay, let me Nesto with Shirley, but I was like, she could have just got her an assistant and it probably would have went over a bit better. So let me see. Very Cherry said, I think she pretends not to know how to do some things because she doesn't want to do it. I agree. And to have a man that say, boo, I got you. Don't even worry about it. I got this. You hear me? I got this. You know what I'm saying? I did that for years, but it's easier when you don't miss the money or you are bad with money. Assume you spent it yourself. I used to be a spender. Oh, okay. So that means you supposed to be out here with 30 houses, but you was bad with money. It happens. You live and you learn. Thank you, Muffin, for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate that. Angelique said, that's what happens when you don't pay attention. Thank you for the super chat. KK Scorpio said Dominique was pretending to be Shirley in all of the correspondence between the realtor regarding the Bent Creek matter. Yep, that's what I was referring to. That I don't know if it was Dominique. I don't know who it was, but it was somebody that I recall that were in those emails, and it was not Shirley, and she had no clue what was going on. But my thing is, when it comes to, and if he was a part of that allegedly in California getting evicted, he wouldn't be over my stuff no more. I'm just saying. I have a 70-year-old coworker who is clueless about life stuff, and she's been single for over 20 years. Her kids have to step in for her all the time. That's from Alma S. Thank you so much, Alma, for the super chat. I Am Unique said, this is why it's so important for both spouses to be involved with all household financial expenses except your spending money. Thanks, Pam. I Am Unique. I agree with that. You got to know what's going on. I pay attention to my stuff, and it ain't because, and you know what, Sexy Guardian, I'm gonna agree with you, of which I am a person that I don't go in the mall and look at prices. Now, I don't do that when I'm going, but I'm not a shopper like that either. So I don't go in the grocery store where back in the day I had to do a list and try to put things back. No, I have the money where I can go in and just put what I want in my basket and go up there. That's not what I'm talking about, because you do have that money. But as far as you notice that you approximately should have 10,000 in the bank, and that mug is down by 2 or 3, and just assume that you did it. I don't operate that way. I don't care. And I can go in and pretty much what I want to buy, I have the ability to get it. But so I get that part. I get that part. All right. Okay, we got to finish reading this document, but let's.
And another thing you notice, the first thing they say, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. That's what it's all about. After they get them dogging you out, before they dog you out, that's the first thing they say. If you like this video, make sure you hit.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Chris J said, I think is at best it was a co-setup. If it went well, Shirley gets what she wants. However, Ernesto got it. If it goes bad, she can claim fraud and get reimbursed and credit wipe. They were using each other. That's interesting, Chris J, with the theories. This is just the theory. It's all alleged. We're all just brainstorming, okay? It's all alleged and opinions. I also believe SS went through a humiliation ritual to move up and make more money. That's from Angel Hair 62. Girl, what you think she a part of? I don't want to know. Never mind. I don't want to know. I don't want to know about no secret societies. I Revive said my uncle controlled everything, even though my aunt also worked. When he died, she didn't know what was going on. Some of that is a Southern thing, because men do take, it's weird because they do take pride in I pay all the bills. I've noticed that about a lot of Southern guys, like older Southern guys. This new generation child, they let you take care of them. They don't care. But at minimum, even if they wasn't ish nowhere else, they would try to take care of you. But this is a whole different thing, because you're trying to just be in control of everything so you can get what you want for you. But then making it seem like, this is alleged, but then it appears that it's making it seem like she's believing that everything you're doing is for her benefit. I just feel like if I knew one time that you used my name to buy a big thing and I didn't give you permission, I know to keep my eye on you. So that means I'm going to be all up on my credit report. I'm going to tell you to take that back. Only Me 23 said, yes, Dominique and Erica knows exactly what's going on. Nestor was trying to throw Shirley under the bus. Dominique and Erica will debunk ever to save themselves. Good morning, Aunt Natty. Good to see you. Georgia Peach said, I can imagine how the conversation went when she found out that they were evicted, because she was planning on buying that home and she spent that money for renovations. That lot. The lies he must have told. Yeah, because she did. They spent a lot of money on renovations, because when you look up that Bent Creek house, that was part of their argument that Erica and Nesto were making, was that all of the money they poured into that house. So clearly maybe it was a rent to own or something. And so yeah, that child, that wasn't nothing but an exterminator could have went and handled that. I was feeling Shirley on that. That didn't make any sense. Y'all saying she goofy. Oh goodness. My cousin was in her mid-30s when her husband died. He took care of everything. She was so lost, didn't even know how to register the kids for school or make their doctor's appointments. Wow, and some women, that's what they want. They want somebody to take care of them, but you got to be careful. You have to be careful, especially later on in life, because who the heck want to be 70 years old and you're dang near starting all over. Imagine if she didn't have a great job that she has. This could have devastated her if she didn't have the great job. Or if Steve Harvey said, listen, you too messy. Like, you gotta go. But he didn't. I heard her this morning on the radio. So imagine people that this may have happened to who didn't have this type of a job. It's 1,200 of y'all. Hit that like, subscribe to the channel. Okay, thanks. I think doing renovations was part of his strategy not to pay. That's from Very Cherry. Okay, let's finish reading this document. The document. Pursuant to the court's scheduling order, the state, you know what? Let me go back because it's a lot of you guys. So I'm just going to say what is alleged, what we're talking about. So what Nesto responded, this is what he's alleging related to Shirley. He's saying that they're making these allegations, they being the state, that it's fraud, but they're making the allegations absent any sworn affidavits, which is true. They weren't attached. They just had documents, actual witness testimony or transcript. The state contends that Mr. Williams has no expectation of privacy based on their currently unfounded belief that the Ford F-350 at issue was procured by fraud. Their most recent filing suggests that if called as a witness, Shirley Strawberry would testify that Ernest Williams purchased the Ford F-350 vehicle registered in her name without her knowledge or consent. So that's what they are saying, that it was purchased without her knowledge or consent. So that is what the allegation is. However, Mr. Williams believes the state's prior filings and disclosed evidence does not support that position. Not only were Ms. Strawberry's funds used to purchase the vehicle, so they're alleging that $12,500 that I couldn't believe they put down, that came from her, is what they're alleging. The vehicle was put in her name, and Ms. Strawberry continued to make payments towards the vehicle after. So they are alleging that even after the down payment, she continued to make payments towards said vehicle. But again, as someone mentioned, one of the intellects said, what are you talking about, the payments after he got arrested that she started making payments, which would make more sense. But the way this is phrased seems, where it can infer that she was making payments after she had put down. So she would have known this long before. However, as was caught by one of the intellects, it could have been after the fact, which we know she was making it once he went to jail. That could have been it too. So that could have been the time where she's alleging that she found out about it, right? Furthermore, during their divorce proceedings, Ms. Strawberry never raised the issue of the vehicle being fraudulently acquired or owned, and was ultimately awarded sole exclusive use of the possession of the vehicle. I don't think that's that strong that she didn't say anything in the divorce. And the reasoning why, I guess, would be because Shirley just wanted to get up out of this. Because she could have got this annulled and alleged fraud, period, because he was already married, allegedly. According to the divorce document that didn't occur from Martha till 2021. She didn't do that. She went through the divorce and she said, we ain't got nothing together. And so this a clean split. And a lot of times in divorces, it's not uncommon that you say you keep the debt in your name and I keep the debt in my name. The debt in my name, even though we're married, it may be debt that my ex-spouse accumulated, but it's a good way to split and to keep moving on with your life. So that's not really uncommon on that end, of which you just say, I'll take what's in my name and deal with it. I'm going to take this on the chin and you take what's yours and all your problems and all the people saying you owe money and all your businesses, and I just want to get out of this. So, moreover, there has been no evidence presented that Ms. Strawberry ever attempted to rescind the contract and return the vehicle once she discovered it was procured through fraudulent means. So that's going to be a timing thing. What if she didn't? Did she discover that it was done through fraud prior to the arrest, or did she discover it after the arrest? Because if that's the case, remember, she already traded the car in and she got her own vehicle. So timing is going to be important. The state cannot meet their burden of proving their position by just putting it in a motion or simply saying, this is what we believe. They must present evidence to the trier of fact. In this case, the court can make the ultimate decision. That is exactly why we tell jurors in every trial that what the lawyers say is not evidence, which is true. And the state has failed to present some exception that applies to them that cuts against the most fundamental principle. Pursuant to the court's scheduling order, the state had ample opportunity to not only present such evidence they believe supported their position, but also Ms. Strawberry herself as a testifying witness before the court, but chose not to. So basically, you could have put Shirley on that stand, and they didn't even do it. I didn't even see an affidavit. They just said what she would testify to. Instead, the state called Roswell Police Department Detective Natalie Fields. Based off her testimony, Detective Fields never told the court she uncovered information that the Ford F-350 was fraudulently purchased. And she probably didn't know that either. Furthermore, Detective Fields never made any assertion of this alleged fraud as providing a basis for his arrest, the impoundment of the vehicle, or the search of said vehicle at the impound lot. An officer that not only ascended through the ranks so quickly, but was also acknowledged and celebrated as Officer of the Year for work done on this case would have followed those leads and presented that evidence and testimony for the court's consideration if in fact existed. So it sounds like, according to the defendant here, that Officer Fields did move up in them ranks quite quickly, and apparently she got Officer of the Year for the work done on this case. The only evidence presented to the court more than establishes Mr. Williams' subjective and objective expectation of privacy in the Ford F-350. The vehicle was in Mr. Williams' wife's name. Mr. Williams was able to and allowed to drive it freely, and he was known to drive the vehicle often around the state. More importantly, the state's most recent filing completely fails to address the fact that Mr. Williams was out of the vehicle and at least 50 feet away from it when arrested, and the vehicle was legally parked when law enforcement arrived. Even if what the state believes is remotely true, which we contend is not, they still have not presented a legal basis to impound and search said legally parked vehicle. The search of the white Ford F-350 was illegal, as said search was done without the issuance of a valid search warrant, without exigent circumstances, and after the vehicle was illegally impounded. Not only is the state's most recent filing untimely, it also fails to present a scintilla of evidence for the court which supports the state's beliefs. Wherefore, Mr. Williams respectfully prays that this honorable court grants the defense motion and the state's filing and disregard the state's filings and consider it in its decision on the merits of defendant's motion to suppress. And that is from Mr. Workaholic Hoover, because he got a lot of cases he owns. So what y'all think? One arrest can get you a promotion. She had been a field officer for what I think she said 2 years or 3 years. She was not. But you talking about Roswell? Like, I think they're a small little. I'm not familiar with Georgia like that, but Jay Blake said he was holding on because it was paid off. Had to keep Slowberry thinking he paid bills from Sandy Girl. Joy said, I don't know who Nestor was praying to, but he better be grateful for Sean. Yeah, I think Sean's a good attorney. Y'all be giving Sean a hard time, worrying about his outfits and stuff, but Sean out here working. He out here doing what defense. He doing the defense. The defense is defending. Okay, that's what he out here doing. I think she found this out recently. That's from It's Just Mimi. Yes, Kelly, hit the replay. Nash Vegas said Nestor will throw Shirley under the bus to save himself. It's awful. So you think that's what he's doing right now? KK Scorpio said, and we know Nestor cannot explain things correctly. You said Big Who. Sean Hoover, I looked at his list and I felt lazy. I said, dang, this how many cases you got, bro? And he got like capital cases. Like you getting them high felonies, like unaliving folks and gangs and Ricos. And I said, dang, let me look at my little list here. I guarantee you Will Wooten gonna prove fraud. If Nestor got a truck in Shirley's name, don't they think he would make payments in her name? Duh. You don't have to make payments in somebody's name though, Lady Janice. You don't. They just, it's like, because if somebody just got your account information, they're not gonna say, you just give them the credit card, name on the credit card or whatever you use. And somebody just said they pay their daughters on Cash App all the time. So Census in comments said Hoover stated Nestor was driving a vehicle registered to his wife. SS was not legally married to him due to the bigamy. Doesn't that negate Hoover's argument? So I think that was part of the state's argument. They were saying that he wasn't really legally married to her either. So anything pertaining to him is fraudulent. So I think that's what they're trying to go for, is to say, like, because the whole relationship was fraud, even if she allowed him to do anything, it was because she thought that was her real husband and he wasn't married to nobody else. You know, I want to see how they unfold this and how this unravels. But I think the defense just responded in the way, I think they have one more argument as well, but I do think they responded to how I was thinking. That's why I said in the beginning, the last time I was like, see, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to wait till the response comes out and see how they're looking at it, because it's not connecting for me. And that doesn't mean that the state does not have legitimate arguments. I'm not going to say they don't have any legitimate argument to it, and they may have some case law. I'm just not familiar because it just didn't make sense to me. Like, so if you get it in fraud, he's saying it wasn't done in fraud. So basically his argument is Shirley knew about it. But if Shirley didn't know about it, what would be the point of putting Lamont down there and say he the closest relative? And he's somebody you went to jail with, I guess, back in the day, even though he called him his brother. You got Lamont is on there, and then you have some random name who she don't even know. Like, why would you be using that? It wouldn't be a purpose of using that. So what would be your point? If you had permission to actually get this in her name, then why even like put all this stuff on the application and don't do her real job? That's what's like not connecting to me, to say perhaps she didn't really know. But at some point when you find out, like they said, once you discovered it, when did you discover it? And did you say, listen, get I don't want this truck. My husband got it in my name. I ain't know nothing about it. So here, take it back, and be able to prove you don't know these people, these numbers, and y'all gonna have to take this L on the chin. Because honestly, again, she had to pay the money she had to pay Westlake in order to, the phone call we just watched. She had to pay Westlake to get $900. I'd have been like, listen, that would have been my time. I'd have been like, listen, I don't know nothing about this truck. It wasn't supposed I don't want to pay this truck off. I don't want to pay it every month because I didn't want to get it. And it don't seem like she ever did that. She just traded it in herself, because she called him and told him when she was going to trade the truck in. So we knew at least at that point she knew it was in her name. We know that. I think she had to know at least when she went down there to go get it. So we know the earliest. We don't know the earliest, but we know the latest would at least been when she had to go get it, when it was impounded. So she went and she turned the car in, and that was that. And so they're arguing, why didn't you throw this up and say it was fraudulent? Now you're saying that, which makes it seem like you're just trying to separate and distance yourself as far as you can from him because of how much trouble he's in. Same. That's what is given a little bit. Shirley did not trade the truck in. Who said that? She got another car, and that's in one of the cars. That's in one of the cars before she because she went and she looked at the car. She said what the car was because she can't drive this big truck. She was like, she can't drive it. And I think when she said she was gonna turn it in, he seemed a little salty on one of the cars when he said it. When she said it. So unless something changed that I missed. So you saying Dion has the truck? So who paid it? Who paying it? Huh? Cause she went. How this is in her name. So y'all trying to tell me? So a truck. Let me think. So you saying a truck that is not fully paid off, that's still in Shirley's name, was given to Dion? Okay, y'all making me mad now. So now y'all telling me Shirley is paying for a truck that Dion is driving? Is that what y'all telling me right now? Now y'all pissing me. Now y'all making me more mad. So Dion got the truck is what y'all telling me. I must have missed this phone call, honey, because I thought she was telling them she was getting rid of the truck because I got the phone calls when she was getting rid of it, allegedly. Okay, wait a minute. Let me look up and see if I can find, because I used to do little clips so I could find it. It couldn't be traded with a note on it. So she making payments. I'm watching. I'm learning. Y'all know I was wrong. So she making payments still on a truck. I mean, I know the state said that, but I was thinking maybe she traded the car in and it didn't cover all of it or something. And so she still had residual payments. That's what I was thinking. I didn't think she was just totally, geez, that's messed up. So this is, wait a minute. I'm trying to think of, hold on. Let me pull one of these. Hold on. Here go a call. Hold on. Y'all got me looking in my archives now because hold on a second. Hold up.
Hello, this is a free call from
Nesto.
This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello?
Hello.
How you doing?
Hold on, I'm good. Hold on. Yeah, hi, how are you?
I'm good. So I just got 5 minutes on a free phone call. So I just, yeah. Let's go. I go to court Thursday, so say a prayer for me. And the Lord just came for me, so just gonna wait till Thursday and see what's gonna go down. So that's in there. Y'all doing okay?
Yeah, we're doing fine.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
I'll just leave it in God's hand and let him do what he do. That's all I can do. Yeah.
You know, I always say a prayer for you. You do know that, right?
I do know that. You got some strong prayers too. So strong.
Oh, good. I'm glad they're working.
Yeah, they're working. They're working.
Yeah.
They're working.
That's good.
I'm just being positive and focused. So I just want to let you know that. Yeah, I want you to love you very much. And I'm very happy that you got some coverage till I get there.
Yeah, Deanne came and got the truck.
Yeah, you told me.
Oh, he did? Okay.
You told me.
No, actually, he was going to get the truck. He actually went and got it. He didn't get it the day he said he was going to get it. He got it a couple of days later because he didn't have a ride. He got a ride. Because something about his...
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. I understand. So he got a ride now.
Yeah, he had a ride and he got the truck.
Oh, okay.
Probably his girlfriend or something.
Yeah. Because she just probably she's trying to recover after what happened to her. So.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't meet her, but I guess I didn't meet her.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
I
guess she was a nice girl.
Okay. Well, that's all I want to say over the phone. Hey,
how you doing?
I'm good. I'm still hanging in there.
He's good. He's hanging in there. Well, good, honey. That's good. She said, love you.
Okay, love you too. Hey, just hang on right now. What up there?
So is that what y'all talking about? Look, I had to go look at my archives. I'm like, I used to clip little stuff on here. So basically, Dion got the car and Dion is making the payments. Is that what y'all saying? Huh? GC, I'm trying to figure this out. They gonna give me the phone calls. They said go to 23. I can't do it today, okay? Because I got to get off in a few because I got stuff to do. Brittany says she's such a sweet woman. I hope she finds true love again. Omar listening said Dion has said he has the truck and is struggling to make payments. Okay. Allegedly is sitting in a lot. On one call, Dion said, I do remember that, Shirley. On the call, Dion said he took the truck. But see, what I was thinking, I guess, is that's what his point was. He was getting the car to get it together because she kept talking about getting rid of the truck. So apparently she never got rid of it and she paying for the car. No, I stand corrected. Sheesh. Diddy's baby oil said true love again, baby. She needs to find it for the first time. $900 is a big payment with no job. Yeah, it is. That's a payment for somebody with a good job. So Nikki Gilbert, she actually lost her case in the Court of Appeals. And so she's actually she texted me and told me she's going pro se to go to the Supreme Court. So she's going to try to file a writ of certiorari to the Supreme Court, and we'll see what happens there. If they allow, they don't have to hear your case, but they are going to allow her to present a brief. So yeah. I can't believe this. This is crazy to me. Jesus, I'm so mad right now. All right, but anyway, that's not why we here. That is the response. I guess we won't really know all of the details unless he goes to trial. And then we'll see, because Shirley's gonna be subpoenaed. She's gonna have to testify, so she's not gonna have a choice. Yeah, we get the facts on both sides. So I do believe, yeah, they did say it was a truck. So in her divorce, let's go back to her divorce just happened at the end of 2024. And as they said in the documents, they did say that she took possession of the truck. That she owned the truck, though. Hold on. I'm thinking out loud. So let's go back. When they talk about the divorce, they say Miss Strawberry never raised the issue of the vehicle being fraudulently acquired or owned and was ultimately awarded sole exclusive use and possession of the vehicle. So that was in her divorce, and that wasn't until the end of last year. So it's obviously still in her name, right? Because when she went to her final date for her divorce, it was still in her name. So what y'all trying to tell me is Nesto's son Dion is driving a truck that she paying for? Is that what y'all telling me? I'm just not gonna believe this. So she's still paying. Oh, good. I don't know. KK Scorpio said, I think the truck is paid off by now. However, Dion has the truck, we believe, but I think that is why he kept telling her to take it back to the Ford dealer and turn it in. He did not want all of this to come out. Well, it's still in her name. If Dion has it as the date of the divorce, it was in her name because she said the truck was her exclusive possession, allegedly. Let me do something here. Y'all always put me down this rabbit hole. Let me go to her divorce documents. See if I got it. Shirley Strawberry. I don't even know if I even ever did her divorce. Downloaded that. I know it's attached to the motion now, so let me look at the motion. Let me see the motion. It's not on the motion to was it on the motion to dismiss? Let's see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was on the motion to dismiss. Okay, let's do this. They need to just put us on the team. We over here be working, trying to find some of this stuff out, trying to get to the bottom of it. Okay, this is the state's motion to dismiss. So this is what they were saying. They expected her to testify that one, the defendant purchased the Ford F-350 and registered it in her name without her knowledge or consent. So we know that's the initial procurement of the vehicle. Two, the Ford F-350 was purchased using Miss Strawberry's funds. So he used her funds and maybe she didn't know. So that's an admission, it looks like. Three, Miss Strawberry continues to make payments on the Ford F-350 despite not having known at the time of purchase that it was purchased and registered in her name. So she continues to make payments. And 4, Miss Strawberry was unaware that the defendant was still married. So I'm thinking in the response, the way it sounds like she put the down payment down. This may be a twisting to the state saying that he used her money, because it may have been she's saying he used her money without her knowledge. That's what I think the state is giving, but I think the defense is giving that she knew about it because she's the one that used her funds. Then 3, Miss Strawberry continues to make payments on the Ford F-350. They said she's made payments, and that's why I said they made it vaguely where you don't know if that was before or after. And I think the state is saying she's continually making it now, even though she didn't know at the time that it was purchased, it was registered in her name. So y'all telling me that Dion still got this truck and she paying for it? I'm not gonna believe that. Okay, let's go down to her divorce decree. Let me see. I'm not believing it. Child, early morning vibes. I have no clue. Yeah, according to the state, she's still paying for it. So I stand corrected. Let me see if they talk about that's alimony, real and personal property. The parties do not jointly own any real property. Each party shall be responsible for any and all expenses associated with his or her residence, including but not limited to mortgage payment, taxes, insurance, utilities, and the like. Petitioner shall be entitled to exclusive ownership of any personal property titled in her name or in her possession. Respondent shall be entitled to exclusive ownership of any personal property titled in his possession. So they're not specific on what it is. Some orders, they weren't even specific on what they're saying is in her name. So maybe, but dang, they still saying she paying for the truck though. I don't know. Then division of assets, each party shall retain his or her own bank accounts, retirement accounts, vehicles, or any other personal property. So yeah, they weren't very specific on what that property was in the divorce decree. That's what I wanted to see, if the truck was actually named, and it wasn't. Whew. But anyway, that is the response. Shirley avoids conflict. She isn't going to confront Dion. That's what you think? So you think she just paying it? Who the F did I marry? A mindful girls, Pam. You are thinking with logical brain. You got to be thinking like Shirley. So let's be clear. In rereading the state's motion, and that's why I want to go back, I really think the response is actually somewhat mirroring what they're saying in the state's motion. However, they're giving it a different interpretation. That's what it sounds like. So the state said they used her money for the down payment, but I think there's an inference that she didn't know that her money was being used for that purpose, because she didn't know it was in her name. So she didn't know it was in her name. How she gonna know the money was used? Then the way they're responding sounds like, oh, well, she paid the down payment, so of course she knew about it. You get what I'm saying? Like how I said, how you take that out of a bank account or something and don't know about it? So it's like she's acknowledging that it was purchased, I guess, with her money, but she didn't know it was being purchased with her money. And then they're saying he's probably saying you knew about it because you the one that put the down payment on it. Same thing with the payments. They're saying she continues to pay on it, but on the other side, it says she's made payments on it. And we don't know if she's made them before he was arrested or just after, as the state is inferring. So it was a bit play with words, depending on how you interpret it. Whew. this too much. I'm working way too hard, okay, for a case that ain't mine. Nestle told her to stop making the payments and pay for her car that she was going to purchase. Now, I remember a car, and again, clearly I ain't listening to all of them because some of this I don't remember. I do remember a call of which she had got approved, and it was between two different cars or something. It was around February of 23, like a few months before she stopped talking to him. So I guess so. Sounds like to me, according to you all, I can't confirm or deny that she was going to turn the truck in because there were conversations about her turning the truck in and getting something else. And then they told her the car wasn't worth it, I guess, or it didn't have any value and it was too much owed on it. So it's probably underwater. So it was like you owe more than what the car was worth. So it wasn't nothing for you to get. They have to pay your car, pay that truck off, which you still owe like 20 something thousand, and have to like put down on your car. No, it wasn't worth it. So that's probably what happened with that truck. But as you guys seen in the earlier phone call, he made it seem like it is paid off. What had happened was, so he was lying. I'm gonna play that again on the fact that it was not paid off. We paid that in the beginning. And I'm gonna play that again since we're over here still brainstorming here. Let me go back.
I wasn't.
Oh, okay. No, I was just saying out there running around by yourself.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't charge. I tried several times last night, but for some reason it keeps kicking me off. I don't know what it is. I tried to put the money on Connect network, but it wouldn't. It sent me right to it, but it just, I don't know. It just kept kicking me off. I said I was going to try again when I got home.
Yeah, you got to do it on computer. Probably try to do it on computer or something.
Well, okay. Last time I did it on the phone from that other place, but okay, I'll try and do it on computer.
Okay. So it keeps kicking you out. Maybe that's probably why, because you're on the phone.
Last time, huh?
I'm good. Huh? I got a telephone to them.
Oh, okay. Shoot.
But you're driving now, so you can't write nothing down.
Yeah, Westlake called today, so I gotta pay them and the storage.
You talked to them?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so they didn't report the truck. That's what the police lady said.
Well, I guess they didn't know.
Okay, did you ask him that?
No, I didn't ask him because I couldn't hardly understand what he was saying because he was a foreigner, so it was hard to understand what he was saying, but I can ask him. It's not a problem for me to ask him.
Yeah, you need to find out what's going on and everything. Yeah, so you have everything on point. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they told me last time that they wouldn't as long as I paid it.
Right.
It's $900 and something. Wow. I thought you told me that truck was paid off.
It is paid off, but I got to give him that balance check thing, but I can't do it because I got locked up.
It is paid off, but I got to give them that back. Let me put up my closed caption and see if they can get this. I got to give them that balance check thing, but I can't give it to them because I got locked up. Let me see.
So you have everything on point. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they told me last time that they wouldn't as long as I paid it.
Right.
It's $900 and something. Wow. I thought you told me that truck was paid off.
It is paid off, but I got to give him that balance check thing, but I can't do it because I got locked up. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to trade it.
What is a balance check thing? I was trying to do a balance check thing, but I couldn't do it because I got locked up. I was trying to trade it.
And all that to be done, I would have had some truck too, because the Wade wanted to buy it, but I couldn't sell it to him until I got everything together.
I see.
That's why I was making my move, because the new truck's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's leaking oil. Yeah, they told me for a loop now. They people told me for a loop. That's okay. I got a plan. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I sure do. Yeah.
They threw everybody for a loop on this one. But it's okay. God is still in control. That's what I have to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He sure is. He sure is.
That's what I have.
I'm being patient.
One monkey don't stop no show.
No, it's a lot to do, but guess what? We good. So straight.
No, she was just making me mad when she's, oh, okay, all right. In the middle, no, let him clearly articulate how either the car paid off or it's not. He said, yeah, it is. But then you turn around and say, that's why I need to pay the balance thing. And then, but I couldn't because it was locked up because I was going to trade it in and the guy wanted to buy it. That ain't got nothing to do with the car being being paid off. And that's what I would have said. Like, what that got to do with the car being paid off?
So where you at now?
I'm at the mall.
Oh, Phil Plaza?
No, I left there earlier.
Okay.
I'm at Perimeter.
Oh, way like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful out there.
Yeah.
Criminal time.
I know. I know. That's why I'm trying to get in before it gets dark.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll call you back then. Go ahead on. Pay attention.
No, I'm parked. I'm okay.
Okay.
Oh, shit, I got some boots. I'm tripping. Oh, my God, I'm tripping. I just bought some boots. Why am I tripping like this? I didn't even have to get off.
Yeah. Okay. You all right? Can you wear the boots?
Yeah, they might hurt a little. I'm still running here since I'm in here. This doesn't make any sense. Lord have mercy. I just looked back in the car. That's what I got. Boots.
Okay. Well, make sure you hide them because they're supposed to be breaking in cars now.
All right.
Yeah. I'll call you later. Check on you.
Look at him. He's so caring about her safety. Look at that. Don't leave at night. Hide your boots. Put them in the trunk because people gonna break in your car.
Make sure you're in that safe.
Well, okay. Well, I might not be able to if I'm driving. Okay, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be
oh Lord.
Yeah, calm down. You all right?
I'm fine. That just threw me for a loop because I forgot I had those.
Okay.
It's cold out here. Yeah, just hold on. You don't have to go right this second. Just hold on a minute.
This next call was made from Ernesto's tablet, so there's more background noise than normal. Shirley is in Chicago with her friend Debbie. Shirley tells Ernesto that the truck was repossessed, and they have a short disagreement about where the strip club capital of the U.S. is located.
Hello?
Hi,
Oh, you made it?
I did. Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, I was just calling to make sure you made it.
Yeah, I made it.
For the super chat.
I'm here in the
Like
shop with Debbie.
Beauty shop.
Yeah, Debbie's getting her hair done, so I had the car drop me off here.
Oh, okay. I got the money yesterday. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it sounds like you're tired.
Does it?
Yeah, it sounds like you're tired.
Oh, does it sound like that?
Yeah, it sounds like you're tired.
Okay, well, let me tell you this. Okay, the truck was repossessed. Can you hear me?
You said truck was
Remember you were
repossessed.
Yeah, it was. And
Yeah.
They gave me a number. Yeah, they gave me a number. They said they have it. They gave me a number to call to get it.
Okay.
You see, she didn't want her homegirl to hear that the truck was repossessed. She's like, the truck was repossessed. You hear me? The truck was repossessed.
So,
I'm on the phone, Debbie. Yeah, they gave me a number, but yeah. But it was. I have all the information at home.
Okay, that's good. So, I guess Dion can go in and get it then.
Well, he's got to pay. He's got to pay.
Oh, how much is it?
It's a lot. It's about $700.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay, so okay. Oh, but you can get it back for $700.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Yeah.
Okay. So when can you talk to them about it? Monday?
Well, no, Tuesday when I get back. I get back on Monday, but I can't talk to them until Tuesday.
Okay. Okay then. So I guess all my stuff is in there gone then. All the cancel, all that is gone.
I don't know.
He sounded concerned about that truck, didn't he? He's like, okay. He said, I guess Dion can go get it. Why would Dion be able to go get it if it's in Shirley's name?
That part I don't know. I don't know. It depends on what they do with it. That part I don't know. They just why wouldn't they keep it? Why wouldn't they keep that stuff?
I don't know. I can't worry about it. They just how my life going. Yeah.
No, don't say that. You can't say that.
Well, I mean, that's all it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's just something that happened. That was a casualty of what went down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But other than that, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I wish I could stay longer.
I know you do.
So she usually will say the G-Wagon, right? Because I'm like, wasn't the G-Wagon repo too? And that was like that was in the company's name or something. So maybe he's referring to that it's only. I don't know, child. Because it's October 2022. No, because he said all my stuff is in there and it's probably gone. So maybe they are talking about the regular truck. Okay. The F-350. Child. It's just hard to keep up.
You stay in the hotel, you staying with David?
In a hotel.
Oh, she gonna stay with you?
Yeah, of course.
The G-Wagon.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So what else going on?
That's it. Nothing else.
That's it.
We ordered it 2 hours ago. It never came. I'm starving.
2 hours ago.
But I guess traffic is really bad.
Wow. For about 7 hours. How was your flight?
It was fine. It was good.
Got nothing to 18.
No.
You were glad to get away?
Huh?
You were glad to get away?
Well, yeah, it's a lot. It's a hassle. It's so much, the airport is.
No, I was just asking about the G-Wagon because she said she talked to him the other day about the truck and it wasn't repo and it was $900 and they can go pick it up. And that's what she said, I thought the truck was paid off. And then this conversation is mentioning $700. So that's why I was just wondering if they talking about the same truck. Or if they talking about the G-Wagon. But usually she'll say the G-Wagon. Like she liked her truck. Like she'll call it hers.
So it was just so crowded and crazy.
What? Wow. It's because you ain't been on there in a while.
Oh, I'll do it. Yeah. Well,
right.
Because of that. Well, no, it's not so much that. It's just that it was super, super crowded.
Oh.
Yeah, it's. Don't get rid of it. It was super duper crowded. It was so many people.
Oh.
So I asked this question before, and if you're from Georgia, you may be able to answer this. I said that when we were doing one of our pondering, sessions here. that when it came to the tags, because she had to get the tags because they expired. And because, mind you, that means, so I was thinking they expired on her birthday because he got arrested in June, which means the truck would have been taken in June and they would have had to renew it in July if it was in her name for her birthday. I was told by somebody that in Georgia, they don't necessarily do it on your birthday. So if anybody's from Georgia, that can either confirm or deny. But in Michigan, they do it on your birthday. Because I said the same thing. His birthday's in January. Her birthday's in July. So if the tags were from her birthday, she would know. If the tags say July, like, that's not your husband's. So that was the first thing I was saying. But then somebody from Georgia was like, we don't do it on our birthdays. It don't necessarily have to be on your birthday. So I was like, okay, every state may be different. Very Cherry said it's on your birthday. And Georgia tags expire on your birthday. Okay. Chris J said, I'm born and raised in Georgia and it expires on your birthday. Okay. So that would mean the tags expired in July, which would make sense why she had to try to get the tags when she got it, because his birthday was in January. So they would have already been renewed. That's what I was thinking. So now the question becomes, how do you see a truck that has July and your husband's birthday is in January and you don't know that it's registered in your name? Y'all help me out. August lady said Illinois is what, the month you buy the car. Always the lady said in California, only your driver's license expires on your birthday. Vehicles are the date you purchased them. See, every state is different apparently, because Michigan is on your birthday. You got to renew it on your birthday every year. And if you buy a car like within 2 months of your birthday, you can get it for the next year when you first buy it. You can already get your, like, if I got try to buy a car in January, my birthday's in February, I can get it I would have been able to get it for 2026. You don't have to renew the tags to see. New Jersey is when you purchase it too. Okay. So LC says she never looked at the tag. All right. Child, I be looking at dang, Bible lady. She said Shirley not looking at no damn tags. Why you gotta cuss at me? We just discussing. We're pondering here. Yeah, I'm not talking about driver's license. I get it. Like, my driver's license, is around my birthday as well. All of ours is around our birthday. Y'all think she ain't? So y'all telling me y'all don't ever look at nobody's tags? Like, so y'all saying she just didn't look at her tags? She was just walking around like this when she went outside and that truck was in the driveway? She just ain't happened to glance over and see that mug said July instead of January? Okay. All right, y'all. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Tags can be renewed online in Georgia. That's fine. I'm not talking about the renewal process, because I do mine online. What I'm saying is, I walk out right now and I can see the expiration. It's like right there. Like, when do you have to renew it? Maybe I'm just nosy or something, because you keep thinking about this with your brain. Why y'all keep saying that? Boogie 713. Thank you for the super chat. Why y'all keep saying that? Shirley from Illinois and California, that birthday thing probably didn't make sense to her like it didn't make sense to me. I've never heard of that until now. Okay, AK's POV. She says Shirley ain't from these parts. And they don't do that where she from and where she was living. So she didn't look at it like, oh, it says July. Okay. All right. I don't know. Child, y'all making me feel nosy as hell. That's all I gotta say. Cause my son 19, I know what his plates say. I'm just saying. I know the first at least the first 3 letters on everybody's plates. I may not know the numbers, but I see it enough where it's like, okay, you got these letters or these numbers. Patty says she not looking at no tags. 50 Fit and Fast said my husband pays mine. I never know when it's due. Okay, sis. It's on your birthday unless it's registered to a business. Okay. Tell me that part. Said even if she saw the tags, does it really mean she would have made the association? Maybe not. I'm literally and I tell people all the time, when I went to law school, they trained you to think differently. So it's like you even throw everything you dang near learned in undergrad, your whole thought process is different. So I throw things out there to see what your thoughts are because I want to think like you. You guys are the jury of your peers, of our peers when it comes to that. So if that's how y'all, how you would look at it, I believe I automatically is just like, and there's a level of nosiness. I pay attention. I remember the first day when I was in undergrad and I took a criminal law class. The teacher came in, he sat in the audience with everybody. Then he walked out, and then he was like, had somebody to come in. What color clothes did he have on? And half the people didn't know it. And I think it was to show how people do identifications, but they really don't pay attention to people. And so from that point on, that was when I was an undergrad, I just pay attention to a lot because I tell people, like when my kids went on dates, it was like, I need to be able to pick them out of a lineup. That's how I used to look at it. I need to know what color shirt you had on, what color pants you had on. I used to take license numbers. I used to take pictures of their license plates before they went out. So yeah, so maybe that's why I'm kind of wired like that. But for 4 years, you just never looked at a plate. Okay. Or not 4 years, because she got it in 2020 and then he went to jail in 2022. So for 2 years, she just never looked at the plate. Got it. Savani Clover says, since Shirley was single a while, she was happy to have someone handle her finances. So she didn't take note that she should, and he got over on her. His love is for himself and not for no one else. Okay, what Bible lady say? Miss HLS said, Pam, you have to remember who you talk. Why y'all keep saying that? Y'all don't do my girl Shirley like that. Don't do my girl Shirley like that. But what I do want y'all to do, honestly, is when you go places and stuff, people don't do eye contact anymore. When you go places, pay attention to what people wear and stuff like that. Because a lot of people, when they're called to identify people, it's a lot of misidentification scientifically. And a lot of that's because people really don't pay attention. And I pay attention to a lot because of it. So even though, and I'm not saying I necessarily say everything that I know, but trust me, it's a lot of things that I do be knowing. You know what I'm saying? The state responded again. Oh, Lord. Okay, let me see. Let me see what they done said, if they did. Let's see. Y'all just not going to let me off of here. Guess you did say it was at 2:00, so you'll be all right, Pam. Let me see. I think it's at 2:00. Let me double check before we start getting back into something else. Yeah, it's at 2. Okay, wait a minute. 3. Let's see. Oh, they done did a response already. Good God Almighty. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Please don't give me no troubles. Okay, here it go. It's only a four pager. Download this here document. Thank you so much. Didn't know they was gonna reply this darn fast. Okay, let's pull it up. I don't look at tag renewal dates either. That's from Pat. Okay, all right, y'all. I need y'all to do better. Y'all would suck as a witness. Okay, state's reply to defendant's response is this. Comes now the state of Georgia by and through the undersigned counsel and respectfully files this reply to the defendant's response to the state's notice of filing blase blase. Procedural context and relevance of the exhibit. The state supplemental exhibit was filed in good faith to assist the court in resolving a threshold factual issue whether defendant has standing to challenge the search of the Ford F-350. The exhibit includes newly available evidence relevant to the legitimacy of the defendant's asserted expectation of privacy in a vehicle he procured by fraud. Factors central to the standing analysis under both Georgia and federal law. He got some case law. All right, Wooten. See, Rackets v. Illinois, Burgesson v. State, California v. He's like, you want some case law? I'm about to give you some case law. Brisbane v. State. These are all states cases in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, and this one 2000. The defendant has not and cannot point to any authority barring the state from supplementing a motion with relevant evidence prior to a court ruling, particularly where the record remains open and no ruling on standing has yet been issued. The defendant misstates the burden of proof and mischaracterizes the record. Contrary to the defendant's assertion, it is the defendant, not the state, who bears the burden of establishing standing to challenge a search. And that's in Rockus and Senstisky, that says, although the burden of proving that the search and seizure were lawful shall be on the state, the defendant bears the burden of proof where his or her standing to raise a challenge to the legality of a search or seizure is contested by the state. The state's supplemental filing merely offers additional factual evidence challenging the legitimacy of the defendant's claim of a reasonable expectation of privacy in a vehicle he procured by fraud. Conversely, the defendant has still offered no evidence, zero, none. He says zero, none, to establish standing to challenge the search in question. Moreover, the defendant's assertion about Ms. Strawberry's willingness to make payments towards a vehicle fraudulently purchased by the defendant using her personal identifying information without her knowledge or consent to prevent further damage to her credit. See, I knew that was coming up. And at a time when she did not yet know the extent of the defendant's ongoing criminal activity or the fact that he had defrauded her into a bigamous marriage is hardly dispositive. Dang, Wooten. Instead, the relevant inquiry is whether the defendant purported standing to challenge the search in question is defeated by the fact that he procured the F-350 vehicle by fraud. So they're arguing that if he procured it by fraud, meaning when he first got it, it don't matter about any of that other stuff they talking about because it's how he got it originally. Timeliness and evidentiary weight. The defendant complains about timings are misplaced. The filing of supplemental material is neither prohibited nor prejudicial, when, as here, the material provides clarification on a threshold legal issue and the court has not yet ruled. The defense is free to contest the credibility or weight of the newly submitted evidence, but its existence is clearly relevant to allow the court to determine the truth. Moreover, while the rules of evidence do not strictly apply to pretrial rulings on the admissibility of evidence, see OCGA section 24-1-2C1, the state stands ready to call Ms. Strawberry or any other necessary witness should the court determine that additional testimony is required to resolve the standing issue. Will the state call Ms. Strawberry at the hearing? Or will they not call her? Indeed, the court has previously indicated that it would conduct further evidentiary hearings as needed in order to render its decision. Wherefore, the state respectfully requests that the court, 1, consider the state's supplemental exhibit filed on April 21st, 2025. 2, if necessary, schedule an evidentiary hearing to allow the state to formally present the submitted exhibits through witnesses who may be cross-examined by the defendant. And 3, find that the defendant lacks standing to challenge the search of the Ford F-350. And 4, deny the defendant's motion to suppress. And that is from John W. Will Wooten. Okay, this is heating up. Wooten was like, what you just say? He said, oh, you want me to call Shirley? I'll call Shirley. Not a problem. You just, Judge, if you want another evidentiary hearing, we'll do that with Miss Strawberry. Ooh. Wooten didn't even take long to respond. No, he did not. He respond. Now, the argument on whether it was untimely, I didn't really discuss that because it was a supplemental. So I didn't understand. It wasn't like he was filing an entirely new motion. He was just supplementing what he had because, and people do that all the time. It may be like, for instance, you may put in a footnote, I'm waiting on the subpoena from Chase Bank and they haven't responded yet because I don't have the certified copy that I need. I just had my client pull it up online or something. So I'll turn that in forthright. And courts usually don't care. I mean, it's just a supplement. So call me darling. Thank you so much for the super chat. You said thank you for your time and hard work. Absolutely. Thank you guys for going over this with me. You know, we've been brainstorming together all morning. Okay, I'm glad I came on. This has been pretty cool. Thank you, Lisa May. Thank you so much for the Cash App, hon. I appreciate it. All right, so we about to see what's gonna happen. Let me see. They said immediately, thank you for letting me know something else was filed, because honey, I didn't even. I wouldn't even look before we got off because I wouldn't have even anticipated that they would reply so fast. You guys are funny. Talking about, can you woo? You know what? Y'all got to give Sean Hoover his props too. He out here working. He out here. The defense is defending too now. So this is going to be battle of the credibility, right? What if Nesto takes the stand and says she knew everything that I was doing? She knew it. I was doing da-da-da. No, he don't got to take the stand, but I'm just saying. He said, yeah, he tried it. Wooten said, hold up, Pammy Pam. Let me clear something up for you and your chat. That is what it feel like, Angel Hair. I was like, that wouldn't be like, nah, sis. No, sis, let me clear this thing up. What you not gonna do is talk about because she made payments. Yeah, so he's clearing up that they were after the fact, and she's doing it not to jack her credit up, which makes sense. I'm like, well, of course she's gonna pay it because it's in her name. And so he's still saying that it was procured without her knowing. And so it's all about when they got it. So again, the issue is gonna be is that enough that he just procured it through fraud, and anything after that is considered fraud. It don't matter if she just went on ahead with it, didn't want to turn her husband in, so made sure it was paid or whatever. It don't really matter. You shouldn't have never got it in the first place. She just didn't want to turn her husband in. Thank you, Lady Ella, for the super chat. Thank y'all for all the love. I appreciate it. You said the blind lady said their whole marriage was a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Okay. Yes, Wooten, thank you so much for liking and describing. Also, Hoover, I need you to like and describe too. Okay. Miss V, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. If you get the memberships, make sure that you thank Miss V. I was actually gonna do a membership live before this came out. I was gonna talk about something totally different in the membership. Actually, I was gonna do the video and stuff and do some of the cleanup work, like try to investigate in the membership. But then this came out, so I said I might as well go over the document on the platform. So We'll probably do a follow-up where we can do our own little investigations and pull up some videos if you guys send me videos that are pertinent. But as it stands right now, and or about April 30th, 2025, there will be a hearing at 9:00 a.m. where it is a final plea. Now, as they said, the judge has not made a decision on anything that has to do with the suppression. So I wonder if the judge is actually going to render a decision. Will the judge render a decision on that, or will the judge say, listen, I don't have all the information, so let's do an evidentiary hearing? The judge may say that. You said Ernesto's brain is exploding. You know what? Thank you, Bible Lady, for the super chat. Miss Lorraine, thank you for becoming a member. Ernesto spoke like he was making a plea deal on that day. Oh, did he? Well, it's called a final plea. So if there is, I don't know if there is a deal. Maybe he's entertaining it. But like I said before, until the court makes this decision on the suppression, it really doesn't make sense to entertain it. Because if the court says, okay, all this stuff you got is fruit of the poisonous tree, because that's what the judge was leaning towards in that video. In that hearing that we watched on video that I had recorded, if the judge says that, then it would put him in a better position. So we shall see. Oh, I don't know. We don't know if he's been offered a deal and if he's going to take it. I know he said on that call, I ain't said nothing. He ain't giving us no heads up. He ain't tipping us off on whether he about to take a deal or not. Thank you, HB5. Said, thank you, Pam. You rock. Thank you so much. You rock too. Thank you for the support. All right, y'all. Are we all set here? Are we all set? We've been on for 2 hours. Okay. We done went back over some of the videos. We done went back over because I had to correct myself. I thought that she traded the car in because she talked about it, but apparently she didn't trade the car in. She's still making payments, and that the state did say that. But I guess in my mind, I was thinking that it was a deficit, and so she still had to pay for it. You know, sometimes if they sell it at an auction and they don't get back the amount, you still got to pay the deficit. So I was thinking that, or it was like a trade, you know. I wasn't thinking like, oh, she's still making payments and this man still has the car as far as Dion. Like, I wasn't even thinking that. But that's it. He spent majority of his attorney money trying to keep the wool over Shirley's eyes. I don't know. Y'all don't really like Nesto, do y'all? Dang, give him a chance, y'all. We know, but we know that, you know, Shirley looked like she got played a little bit. At least we know she got played where he was messing with other women for sure. So, y'all, he said, nope, not at all. Dang. Jeez. See, now, so I be trying to, like, you know, if it seem a little shaky, but I'm not doing no research like that though either. So I'm gonna need your attorney to put a little bit more case law to support your support what you're saying, because I don't be wanting to look it up like that. Some things are easy to look up because it's simple, but this seems like a, you know, procuring through fraud. I just wanted to know, is there a way that you can somehow, just like how you can purge a contempt, there's some way you can purge it, because even though you know that's how he got it, you didn't try to turn the car back in. You didn't try to do anything. You just went on ahead. Or because it's fraud all the way around with your marriage, and that nothing she could have done was legit because you like to tender swindler or something. You know, there may be law associated with that. So we about to see. This is heating up, y'all. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day so far. What's today? Thursday? You guys had a fabulous day so far. We've been on a few times this week. We've been doing good. Peachy Bama said might mess around and catch another case playing with Wooten, man. You said Pam ain't no case law that's scandalous. You'd be surprised at this here divided states of America's justice system. Nesto Shackle Shuffle Walk of Shame said, I'll give Hoover his credit, but Nesto niggas where he belongs. Give Hoover his, he out here working. Can we all just agree that what's that guy's name? Hoover works very hard and he's done well. At least he moving, doing stuff in his case. He was paying attorneys that wasn't even really doing nothing. We watched the bail hearing and it was like, are you serious? And then was paid attorneys. So you got Wooten working as a public defender. I mean, not Wooten. Hoover working as a public defender, and he doing well. We fair over here now. Wooten is making Hoover work. He is. Jay Blake said Nesto don't deserve him. You know what? Shout out to Hoover. See? Yeah, shout out to Hoover. Don't be going down on the numbers now because I said shout out to Hoover. Just make sure you hit that like and subscribe before you leave, okay? You said Nesto paid them other attorneys. Well, probably for looking at their history or their reputations, they probably have one other case. So he said, oh, they about to hook me up. And he had remember the arrests he had before, they were no lay pros. So he was able to get out like on those cases. So maybe he thought, because this was similar and it had something to do with the motorcycles or whatnot as well. He thought, oh, I'm about to get up out of here. I'm be out of here in a minute. Here we are coming up on 3 years. He done dang near did time. Like time for a couple of them charges. And you said Hoover next work on them suits. Leave Hoover alone. Willie J. Sonia used up all attorney's money with her phone calls. You know what? And that is when you're emailing attorneys, they get paid by the hour, as you guys know, most do. You know, some situations it's contingency. Even in criminal, they do flat rates on some services like expungements or those that are basic. But when you go to this type of litigation, usually it's an hourly rate. And what will happen is people don't understand that every communication with your attorney is time and it's money. So if you decide to email, if you decide to text, if he went out to lunch with her, so they can talk about the case. If it was you sent me 20 documents and I had to read them, I'm gonna read all of them and I'm gonna read them real slow because I'm gonna turn this time. It's gonna be like this. You send me documents, it's gonna be just like this. Hey, Sonia, how are you? Yes, I got your document. This gonna be the conversation when she say she sent it. Yes, I got your document. Very, very interesting. You know, they at minimum gonna charge 15 minutes. Very interesting. I'm about to pull it right now. Oh, you got case law in there? Okay. So I'm gonna pull that document. I'm gonna read it. Then I'm gonna pull up the case law. This gonna still be running. And then I'm gonna let me do about 2 hours on here. And then just that fast as 2 hours. All them phone calls. The timer goes on. That's why I don't like billable hours. I usually do things, but my cases are usually bigger civil cases. So you can do them on contingency. That's why I do that. Because you literally everything that when you pick up the phone and you in the car, people got timers in the car where they're like, oh, okay, start. Some attorneys won't even consult like for free. They like, you get 30 minutes and my consulting fee is $150. So yeah, every little thing is billable. So you can say you ain't even do nothing and you came out of all and he didn't already spent 20,000. Oh, you'll be, depending on what the hourly rate, you'll be surprised at how fast that'll go because you keep contacting them. And the thing is, if he's not sending a bill every single month, you're not, and then he probably wasn't sending a bill because if a lot of the conversation was with Sonia, how you gonna send a bill and be like conversation with Sonia? Reading document from Sonia, reading email, talking to so-and-so that Sonia sent, looking over the documents that Sonia sent. And you gonna put that on your bill and send it to Shirley? Probably not. Because he was concerned that he wanted to make sure Shirley paid that bill because she was the one that was responsible, took responsibility to pay. That's what I believe. I'm just saying, because that's what you do as an attorney. If you want me to talk to whoever, okay, but you getting billed for it. Like, we get paid. There's no, time. That's what attorneys get paid for. The time that they spend on your case. And that's every attribute of your case. That's basic phone calls. That's going down to the jail. That's picking up your phone calls when you like, hey, call my attorney on 3-way. That's you sending little, messages or whatnot through the systems, or sending little text messages. All of that. People have minimum. So at minimum, it might be 15 minutes. So even if we talk for 1 minute, I'm billing you 15. So Lady Janice said, but honestly, I feel like Sean Hoover is doing a good job. Like, I think he's doing a good job, and he's not getting as much money as probably some of these private attorneys that's billing a whole lot of money. I think he's doing decent. And the fact right now he's on a whole nother big RICO case in another county. That's why he had to put the leave of absence in. Yes, please. But anyway, that's it. I think we've been pretty balanced with our conversation today. We've talked about Nesto, and I think that they raised some interesting points. Again, the whole supplemental, I wasn't really on that, but the whole the portion about the consent part of it, I am a little lost. So I can't wait to be educated on that as well, on how they do that in Georgia and how they will handle it. And the state came back and Wooten was like, this a bunch of bull crap. What you talking about don't make sense. And if you want an affidavit, because basically they acknowledge they don't have affidavits or transcripts or anything from Shirley, we can call her. Shirley gonna get subpoenaed and we gonna call her. And then that's probably when you're going to see the cameras from TMZ and all them going to be in there for that one. It's not just going to be us little YouTubers. She come in to testify. Oh, that's when the news people and everybody about to come back in. We going to all be fighting for a position. So that's it. Call Sheridan too, since her name on papers. Yeah. All of a sudden, everybody going to think this case is worth it. And she get caught. But yeah, all right, y'all. I'm gonna try to give me a bite to eat before I do this next phase of my day. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for all the love. We got so many super chats and cash apps and all of that today. Please, if you want to, donate, we do have a videographer that comes in and stuff on these hearings. If you want to do that, my mods have put the cash app in there. If you want to do super chats, that's cool too. You know what I'm saying? We just don't see that till the next month. Yeah, the next month's check, whenever Google pays that check. But I appreciate all the support. The documents and stuff do cost. So that's what you guys are paying towards. If you guys want to know, like, what you paying towards, that's what it is. We do deal with a lot of documents over here. But until then, unless something else happens, yeah, he told Dre he wasn't aware, that you took a leave of absence. Said, I don't know how true that is. Don't be believing what they say. I really think he did show Shirley the times when Sonia called. That's why Shirley stopped paying. That's from Granny the Great. Thank you so very much for the super chat. You said if TMZ shows up, Nesto will die, and Sonia will definitely show up to court. She's been showing up anyway. She's been showing up to court the last few times that I've been there. She's been there. And then, of course, she's been there the time that I didn't come when she got served that subpoena. And I was like, why y'all ain't tell me she got served? And the people that was there, because it's a good 4 or 5 of y'all that's always up in that court too with me. Y'all be right up there sitting there with your pens and pads too. And then when I say hit the link, don't none of y'all come up to give your take. You just there being nosy up in the court. But again, Ernest Williams is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in the court of law. As he sits there today, he bears the presumption of innocence, as even though he's been sitting in jail for almost 3 years, he is still considered innocent, and we don't forget that over here. All right. But until next time, thank you guys again. Look, I'm acting like I don't even want to get off, but I got work to do. So I gotta go. Thank you guys.